चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna. Thank
हरे
you for
कृष्णा।
completing the Mangalachara. Get started. Okay, I will quickly do my prayer and then I'll project the screen. नमः विष्णुपङ्केन्द्रस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाश्लाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपस्ताय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिते नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यं पार्श्वदेशकरुणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। The translations and purpose to chapter 14 Bhagavad Gita are by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So we are in the final section, transcending the modes, becoming Gunatita verses 20. We are at verse 21 or 20.
Even like I'm not sure, it's either 20 or 21.
I think I posted it. Oh, I didn't post for a long time.
Yeah.
I think 20 will go. We'll go to that. So yeah, last section, definitely.
We read this, Mataji, the 20.
21 to 27, I think, right?
Yeah, 20. I think I was the one who was reading this 20.
We can calculate about it on that. गुना एतान् अपि देहि देहा समुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्यु जरा दुःखे विमुक्तो मृत्युम् आश्नुते. I don't even recollect, but I think if you have read 20th, we'll go to 21st. We had, oh, Arjuna was exactly. We break that at what Krishna said. We have to start with what Arjuna is telling, asking.
Yeah.
अर्जुनवाच कैर्लिङ्गै स्त्रीन् गुणानीतान् अतितो भवति प्रभो किम् आचरा कथं चैतां स्त्रीन् गुणान् अतिवर्तते. Synonyms. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Kai, by which, Lingai, symptoms, three, Gunan, qualities, Etan, all these, Atitaha, having transcendent, Bhavati is, Prabho, O my Lord, Kim, what, Acharaha, behavior, Katam, how, Cha, also, Etan, these, three, Gunan, qualities, Ativartate, transcends. Translation. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? In this verse, Arjuna's questions are very appropriate. He wants to know the symptoms of a person who has already transcended the material modes. He first inquires of the symptoms of which a transcendental person. How can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of the modes of material nature? The second question asks, how he lives and what his activities are they regulated or non-regulated? Then Arjuna inquires of the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature. That is very important. Unless one knows the direct means by which one can be situated always transcendentally, there is no possibility of showing the symptoms. So all these questions put by Arjuna are very important and the Lord answers. So this, in the beginning of this chapter, even Krishna says, all the knowledge that I've given you so far, I'm going to give you more advanced knowledge. Even Prabhupada says that because the modes are very prominent throughout the universe and all the conditioned souls are overcome by these modes. They are under the influence of the modes. So to get out of that mode, if someone can give us the knowledge how to get out of that, that's the most important knowledge for us. Because this material world is binded by the modes. To go out of it is a very, very hard task. To transcend means that means you can ascend to the other realms if you're able to transcend the modes. So that's how it becomes very important. And we have seen last week how a person in the mode of goodness behaves. How does he think? How does he work? How does he even pass away from this world? Where does he go after death? All those things are very important. Like those are knowledge. That's usually in the beginning of every chapter. It's usually the Sambandha Gyan. It's already mostly it's a knowledge on how to what is the knowledge. Then comes the application part. Now this is the Abhideya. He's going to give the application. How one has to. Arjuna is asking, what are the symptoms? How does he look? What is his behavior? How does he transcend the modes of nature? Now Krishna is going to answer how exactly one can transcend. 22 to 25, all three verses together. Vaniti Mataji, please read.
Yeah, Mataji. श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहम् एव च पाण्डव न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति उदासीनवत् आसीनो गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इति एवं योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते समदुःखसुखः स्वास्वातः समलोष्टास्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरस्तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः मानपामनयोस्तुल्यस्तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भ परित्यागी गुणातीतः च उच्यते. Synonyms: Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Prakasham, illumination, Cha and Pravrittim, attachment, Cha and Moham, illusion, Eva Cha, also, Pandava, O son of Pandu, Na Dveshti, does not hate, Sampravrittani, although developed, Na Nivrittani, nor stopping development, Kankshati, desires, Udasina Vat, as if neutral, Ashina, situated, Gunai, by the qualities, Ya, one who, Na, never, Vichalyate is agitated, Guna, the qualities, Vartante are acting, Iti evam, knowing thus, Ya, one who, Avashtistati, remains, Na, never, in Gate, flickers, Sama, equal, Dukha, in distress, Sukha, and happiness, Swastaha, being situated in himself, Sama, equally, Loshta, a lump of earth, Ashma, stone, Kangchana, gold, Tulya, equally disposed, Priya to the dear, Apriya, and the undesirable, Dhiraha, steady, Tulya, equal, Ninda, in deformation, Atma Samstutihi, and praise of himself, Mana, in honor, Apamanayo, and dishonor, Tulya, equal, Mitra of friends, Ari, and enemies, Pakshayo, to the parties, Sarva, of all, Aramba, endeavors, Parityagi, renouncer, Guna Atita, transcendental to the material modes of nature, Saha, Uchyate is said to be. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they are disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remain neutral and transcendental, knowing that these modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friends and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Purport. Arjuna submitted 3 different questions, and the Lord answers them one after another. In these verses, Krishna first indicates that a person transcendently situated has no envy and does not hanker for anything. When a living entity stays in this material world embodied by the material body, it is to be understood that he is under the control of one of the 3 modes of material nature. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. He should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotional services of the Lord so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. But when one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for self gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need this material body, so he does not need to accept the dictations of the material body. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but the spirit, soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. That transcendently situated, the devotees become automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. The next question concerns the dealings of the transcendently situated person. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honor and dishonor offered to the body, but the transcendently situated person is not affected by such false honor and dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether a man honors or dishonors him. He accepts the things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity for anything material, either a gold or a stone. He takes everyone as his friend, as his dear friend, who helps him in his execution of Krishna consciousness, and he does not hate his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with the material existence. Social and political issues do not affect him because he knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances. He does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such behavior, one becomes actually transcendently situated. Hare Krishna.
Right. So, Krishna is talking about how one, Arjuna asked, how does he one situate, how does he behave, and how does he transcend the modes, right? For which Krishna is answering that one, he does not hate the illumination nor attachment and illusion. So there is no lamentation. Hating means I I don't want something, I dislike it. That's hating. So I don't want attachment. I don't. So that is not there, and neither there is hankering. Hankering means longing for something. So that is not there in that person who is unwavering and undisturbed throughout the reactions of the material qualities. That means there is no disturbance that any reactions that are happening out of the material qualities, he does not get disturbed. We've seen these qualities in the 12th chapter also, in the last 12 to 20 verses. The qualities of a devotee, Krishna describes how one is situated. It doesn't have no enemies. Anybody has Bhagavad Gita? I mean, you can open the 12th chapter and see, go through those verses also. Who is situated in self, neutral and transcendental, knowing the modes alone are active. So, knowing that the modes are active, the person becomes very aware of that and becomes neutral. One who is situated in the self and regards happiness and distress, who looks upon the lamp of, and then this verse, where he looks upon the lump of the earth as some Soma, Lostrasama, Kanchana. Lostrum is the lump of earth. Asma, stone. Kanchana is gold. So it treats all these things same. Lump of gold, earth and gold. Lump of earth, stone and gold with equal, who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material qualities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Because enemies, people who consider him as, he considers them as enemy, or they are acting not favorable, that means they are in some other mode, maybe in ignorance. That's why he considering him as enemy. But this person doesn't consider him as enemy like that, because even though he's in that mode, disturbing him, he doesn't get bothered. My God, that's very high way of looking at things, right? Transcending the modes of nature. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes. In the first paragraph, Prabhupada is describing the different questions Arjuna is posed and Krishna is answering. How he is situated. The first paragraph talks about how he is situated, and the next paragraph talks about how he deals with the situations, how he generally deals with the things around him, who is situated in that, who is transcendental to the modes. So he does not anchor, as Krishna said, he does not lament for anything, and he is situated in the material body, even though, but it is under the control of the modes. When he's actually out of body, then he's out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. When a living entity stays in the material world embodied by the material body, it is said to be understood that he is under the control of one of the three modes of material nature. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. That means he is dead. But as long as he is not of the material, he should be neutral. Okay. So if you are in the material body, you are already under the controls of the modes of nature. But once the body is, the soul goes, body is dead. Material modes are not anymore active on it. But the point is, one has to be, while the body is alive, one has to be neutral. That is where the point is. It has to be neutral. He has, as long as he is not out of the material body, he has to be neutral. He should engage himself in devotional service of the Lord so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. So he should not be identifying with his body. That is when he has transcended the modes. It is a practice. It is not an automatic thing that happens to someone. Suddenly one day they become transcendent to their body. But in spite of all these inconveniences that the body goes through because of heat and cold, honor and dishonor, fame and infamy, one continues with their service, devotional service. And that is the process, and that is our goal also. So service in the beginning, in the middle, at the end, and then when we are achieved the goal also, there is service, because service is the only thing that we keep doing throughout. Chanting holy name and doing service from the beginning till the last. There is no end, it's eternity. For eternity, we'll be doing service. So if we can understand that and continue in every condition of life, that is called, that person is transcending the modes. Because the qualities are not acting on him, and his spirit, soul, the self is aloof from such activities. So that's the point. And he deals with the, his dealings are, he is situated the same in honor and dishonor, whatever that is offered to him, either honor and dishonor, fame and infamy, everything he treats it equally. But he does accept certain things only in the service. It doesn't mean he will reject some fame that is coming his way, or some luxuries that are coming in way. He will not do that, but he will accept them in the service of the Lord. So if there is something gold that he has, it doesn't mean that he will reject it and consider that as a stone. No, he will use it in the service of the Lord. And he does not consider any enemies and friends. He's equally disposed to everyone. And he doesn't bother by the social political issues that are going around him. That is the and he can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such behavior, one becomes actually transcendently situated. So these are the points Krishna has already spoken. Did anybody open that? So we want to open and see 12 to 20 verses of 12th chapter.
If you want to go through all the verses, Mataji?
Yeah, because they are similar.
First is declaring bicycle one is not one is not born at the time of the
Read loudly, we can also hear.
I mean
Not 12,
the 12th chapter, right?
Yeah, 13th verse onwards till 20th verse.
Yes. 13th. 13th. Okay. अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्रकरुण एव च निर्ममो निर्हंकार समदुःख सुख क्षमी संतुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मदृढनिश्चय मया अर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः. You want me to read the translation also, Mataji?
I think only translations for me.
Okay. One who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result is very dear to me. One who rejects, rejoices, nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Those are qualities of the devotee that Krishna likes very much. He explained already in the 12th chapter. Now in the 14th chapter also is telling, this is the only way that where you can transcend the modes. Because the modes are very disturbing, they're very active. Only if you can become equipoised to all of these. This is the only way. So you already spoke about this kind of knowledge in the 12th chapter. Now he's repeating that same thing in the 14th chapter as well. Yeah. We'll move. I think we are last two verses. This is an important verse. Mam chayo vebicharena bhakti yogina sevate sabuna samadhitvaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Sneha Mataji, please read. It's a memorization verse if you want to memorize.
Yeah. Text 26. Mam cha yo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Mam onto me cha also yaha a person who avyabhicharena without fail bhakti yogena by devotional service sevate renders services Saha he gunan, the modes of material nature, samatitya, transcending, etan, all these, brahma bhuyaya, elevated to the Brahman platform, kalpate becomes. One who engages in full devotional service unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus becomes to the level of Brahman. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question. What is the means of attaining to the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna but his different plenary expansions such as Ram and Narayan. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or he is or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendently situated. One should also note that all forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So, if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the seventh chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that His nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise, there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman or freed from all material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmaiva san Brahmapi eti. One can attain the supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. Hare Krishna.
So this verse explained, Prabhupada takes it in few folds in this verse. One who engages in devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Here the word Brahman. Brahman has got different meanings when used in certain different contexts. Here, the Brahman is one who has achieved that spiritual realization. It's a spirit soul, but he has become very transcendentally situated. He transcends the material modes and become transcendentally situated. Is Brahman. Brahman sometimes is Supreme Brahman also. Sometimes based on the context can be said is also Supreme Lord. Brahman sometimes is also Lord Brahma. Brahman is also Brahman, like Brahmana, like that. So different context. So in this case, it is the level of Brahman is one who has transcendent, who has become situated in the self, which is highest position. He has realized, self-realized soul. So that when one can perform devotional service under all circumstances without feeling. And that is one point. The other point Prabhupada talks about the devotional service can be performed to various Vishnu avatars, Rama, Narayana, Narasimha, and so on. So that's one point. The other point Prabhupada is saying, there is always individuality between the Brahman and Parabrahman. Brahman is the individual soul, Parabrahman is the supreme soul. So bhakti is performed only to someone who is superior, right? So there is what he's trying to condemn in this verse, in this purport, is trying to bring the point is individuality of the soul. The soul always exists as an individual, even in the Brahman state, because the supreme Brahman is doing devotional service to him. So there is never a loss of the individuality of the soul. That is what is Prabhupada is telling. And your bhakti is performed to the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, there is no point doing bhakti. If he is also same as us, if we and him are same, there's no point. No one can do bhakti. It's called as not bhakti, whatever it is called, but it is not bhakti, because bhakti is only done to the Supreme Lord, and that is the bhakti yoga. And because we are all part and parcel of the Lord, and also the point is, the devotion service begins. So usually when they say, but right now what we are doing is we are trying. We are not doing the actual devotional service at this point. We are trying how we can mature ourselves. Finally, when we have matured, they say that I have read it somewhere, and the devotional service begins. So that's when the devotional service actually begins. Right now, we are trying to get to the point of doing devotional service. We are not there yet. We are not qualified yet. So it's making step-by-step progress towards transcendence. But we are not there yet performing the devotional service actually. Only when in that supreme consciousness, when the spirit soul has realized, self-realized, the devotional service begins. So that's something to, but right now what we are doing, we are on the right track. We are on the path. We'll reach there someday, but we are on the track. So as we do this, then the medium of spiritual master, through the medium of spiritual master, who becomes the transcendental medium for us to connect us to the supreme. That's the first step in the stages of transcending or first step. What is that point we learned in 13th chapter? Mai Chananya Yogena is the topmost important activity, which is performing devotional service unto the Lord. The other point, very important, next to that is Acharyopasana, which is approaching a spiritual master, inquiring from him, and surrendering unto him. That's the path. He becomes the via medium, opening the gate to the transcendence. And then slowly making progress through that medium, because we need a medium. We cannot approach the Lord on our own. We need the medium. That medium is the spiritual master. It's a very important thing in a bhakti yogi's life to approach the spiritual master, surrendering to him, and take initiation. So that's very important. Otherwise, we cannot approach Krishna directly. We need to go through the via medium of the spiritual master. And it opens up the doors to transcendence more and more. As you apply through that medium, it opens the doors to the spirituality, to the spiritual world. And the soul he acquires the qualification of a Brahman, which is freed from the material, no more material contamination. And then the devotional service begins. Actual devotional service. So, yeah. Last verse of this chapter. Prabhu, you want to read?
ब्राह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्य व्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखास्यैकान्तिकस्य च Brahmanah of the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, he certainly pratishtha the rest. Aham, I am Amritasya of the immortal, Avyayasya of the imperishable, Cha also, Shashvatasya of the eternal, Cha and dharmasya of the constitutional position, sukhasya of happiness, aikantikasya ultimate cha also. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is constitutional position of the ultimate happiness. The constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle. The second stage is transcendental realization, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the Absolute Truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. It is explained in the seventh chapter that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature, and that is the spiritual touch in the material nature. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage in the self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is a transcendental to the material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were first situated in the personal Brahman conception of the truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is a chance of falling down in one if one is not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Vedic language, it is also said, Raso vai saha rasamya evayam labdhva nandi bhavati. When one understands the personality of Krishna, Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7.1. The Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these six opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king. And so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in the devotional service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotional service. The living entity, although Brahman by nature, has the desire to lord it over the material nature, and due to this he falls down. In his constitutional position, a living entity is above the three modes of the material nature, but association with the material nature entangles him in the different modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Due to the association of these three modes, his desire to dominate the material world is there. By engagement in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position, and his unlawful desire to control material nature is removed. Therefore, the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, and remembering, described the prescribed 9 methods of realizing devotional service should be practiced in the association of devotees. Gradually, by such association, by the influence of the spiritual master, one's material desire to dominate is removed, and one becomes firmly situated in the Lord's transcendental loving service. This method is prescribed from the 22nd to the last verse of this chapter. Devotional service to the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the service of the Lord. Should eat the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deity, smell the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, see the places where the Lord has his transcendental pastimes, read of the different activities of the Lord. His reciprocation of love with his devotees, chant always the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and observe the fasting days, commemorating the appearances and the disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. One who can thus situate himself in the Brahma Jyoti or the different varieties of the Brahman conception is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in quality. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose to 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of three modes of material nature.
So now he's explaining, Krishna is explaining about the Supreme Brahman. So the Brahman in the last verse is the person, the individual soul. He'll be situated in that, what was the verse? Sanskrit? Mamchayo Vebicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Saguna Samatitvaita Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So one who engages in the Avyabhichari Bhakti without fail in perform devotional service to the Lord, he reaches himself up to the point of level of, he becomes Brahman realized. So in the transcendental realm, there are different levels of understanding the Supreme. Absolute truth. The first realization of the absolute truth is Brahman realization, the impersonal Brahman, which is beyond this material covering. In the 8th chapter purports, I think we read the coverings of the material nature, how the earth, water, fire, air, ether, each one is covering the other by 10 times higher than the other. The coverings are very huge. So the coverings of the whole universe is like a egg shaped, and the coverings are there, earth, water, fire, air, ether, going into like lengthy, like big coverings are there of these five material elements. So beyond that is Brahma Jyoti. Beyond the material universe coverings is Brahma Jyoti. So one who wants, that's a going upwards, right? Transcendental going upwards in that into that realm. One who is Brahman realized can go up to that stage. But because there is no active service, devotional service means to do active service using all our senses, whatever senses we have, ears, eyes, nose, mouth, and sense of touch. All these have to be used in the service of the Lord. That is why Prabhupada has added service to the devotion. It's a very active process. It's not passive. People may think it is to do with the heart, sit one place and meditate. That is important. We should do that. But more than that is to engage the senses, because senses are so active. If we don't give them some passage to be engaged in certain way, they can lead to different things, because sense wants to be engaged in some way, some nice way. So if we don't engage that in the service of the Lord, it engages itself somehow. So instead of just sitting and meditating, which we cannot do for a long time, everything that we do using all our senses can be engaged in the service of Allah. So that the programs that we have, where all the whole body is involved. With the body we are working, with the mind we are concentrating, with the eyes we are seeing, with the mouth we are eating Krishna Prasadam, with the nose we are smelling the flowers, fragrant flowers. So devotional service is very active. So in the impersonal realization, there is no active service. So there is a chance of one falling down. However, if the living Brahman, the one that we just understood, who is transcended the modes, can make progress and come up to the point of Brahman, Paramatma realization. That is a super soul within each and every living entity, Paramatma. But the complete and the holistic understanding of the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, who is none other than Lord Shri Krishna. So the transcendental understanding of the Lord can be in the three ways. One is the Brahman realization, which is the Brahma Jyoti. Beyond the coverings of the universe, there is this white light. That is the Brahma Jyoti. So if you want, you can go to that stage and be there. But you cannot stay there, but there is no active service. Senses need something, they can fall down. But who is very strong, they can go there, stay there and go up to the point of Paramatma realization, which is the super soul inside the heart of every living entity as a Paramatma. Then they will realize there is Paramatma in each and every living entity. We have to worship him. But the holistic understanding of this transcendental realization is to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Bhagavan, in the Bhagavan feature, where we do active service, like the deity form, the picture form that we have on the altar. That is a Bhagavan, going towards the Bhagavan realization by engaging all our senses. So that's the holistic understanding. So in the Brahman stage also, there's immortality. Krishna is saying the Supreme Brahman, which is the Brahma Jyoti, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, and is the constitutional position of the absolute truth, ultimate truth. It's just he is the basis for happiness or immortality, imperishability, eternality. He is the basis. That impersonal Brahman is the starting point, is the ultimate source for all this, for the ultimate benefit, happiness. But in the purport, Prabhupada is taking to the Bhagavan realization point, because he will not leave us hanging here at the impersonal realization point. For us, from the day one, page one, it is always Bhagavan. We worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this Bhagavan feature, and we do devotional service to him. Although, because this comes in the Jnana section, this particular chapter, all we know the three sections in Bhagavad Gita: Karma Kanda section, Bhakti Yoga section, and Jnana Yoga section. So this is Jnana, mostly knowledge. So there are people who like to understand Bhagavad Gita in this way also. So for them, this will be very endearing, how to understand the Supreme Personality or the Supreme Absolute Truth in this way, as a Brahman. It is endearing for them. But we are Bhakti Yogis, not Jnana Yogis. So Prabhupada takes us to the point of Bhagavan realization, to Bhakti Yoga, and that's where he speaks about engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord. So for us, we don't have to be very much affected by these verses, because this is a purpose by which Krishna is speaking, because he wants to attract. See, devotional realm is not bereft or not deprived to any section of the society. Bhagavad Gita also like that. If you are karma kandik person, you want to do karma yoga and understand the transcendence through that, yes, first six sections are about that only. Karma, do activity. Krishna is focusing on the activity. In the middle section is purely bhakti section. In the last six chapters, this 14th being, it's all about the jnana. So the people who are jnana oriented, they can also understand the Supreme. Bhagavad Gita also they can understand in their way. So it is for attracting them that Krishna is spoken in these particular sections. But for Bhakti Yogis, it might not be of that much relevance, because we are trying to follow the teachings of a Bhakti Yogi, Prabhupada, and we are trying to follow in his footsteps. So for us, the devotional service that we do, using all our senses and chanting Hare Krishna mantra, that is the way to go. Okay, even though this may speak so much in the purport he's speaking, but finally he's bringing us to that point of chanting Hare Krishna and doing devotional service. Like, deity worship, eating the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deities, smell the flowers, all that is what? Devotional service to the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, in the Bhagavan feature. Chant Hare Krishna, observe fasting, appearance days, disappearance days, like that. And that by following such process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. And that is how one can transcend the modes. What we are learning from page one, day one is the same thing, even in this chapter. But in a different way, in a different capsule. Because this is for the Jnana yogis who want to understand the transcendence through the Jnana. I hope I'm trying to make some sense. If there are questions, we can take. Otherwise, we will stop here today. The next chapter is 15th chapter. It will be a very nice chapter as well.
Actually, Mataji, like before the class, I was hearing to Radha Govind Maharaj's lecture. Um, so he was talking about Adho Shraddha Sadhu Sangata Bhajan Kriya. So the entire, he was explaining one by one each. So for today's verses actually are talking about that thing only. We start with a Shraddha, okay, performing, having a faith that this is devotion, this is good for us, and then we associate with the devotees and start our bhajan kriya. Then we take the help of shelter of a spiritual master, like-minded people, and the spiritual master Siksha and Diksha Guru both. And then we perform our devotional service, and then there will be stage coming where our devotional service strengthens, and then we come to a particular stage that it doesn't matter what the situations are in our life, our devotional service is irrespective of all those situations. And then when you have that kind of asakti, then your ruchi and your nishtha and ruchi and prema and bhava and all those stages develop. So the point is, when you said that we have not even started our devotional service, and it's so true that we are still struggling in our fine tuning our shraddha and struggling with our anartha nivriti only. We have not reached that stage only where the devotional service, where the Shuddha devotional service will be performed. But yeah, it's a long thing, and the only good part is that we are on right track.
Yes.
Nothing more than that. It's just that what we know, what we are doing, if we do it sincerely and seriously, one day, with the mercy of Krishna, we'll achieve it. But yeah, long way to go to ahead.
So if we are on the right track, we know the train will take us to the place.
Yeah.
If you are on the wrong track, then that means you're not reaching any destination.
Yeah.
That is the good thing, yes.
The only thing is we have to take care of, we should not be getting down from the train and don't pick up fights in the train.
Exactly. We are on the right train, but still if we pick up fights in the train,
Yeah.
the train conductor will get us down.
Yeah.
So we should be careful. So that is the anarthas. While we are going on this path, if we become entangled with other anarthas, judging people or picking up fights or whatever, anything you can add. We know it. It's not like something we don't know. We are very much aware of that nature, what it is.
Yeah.
We should not do all that we are doing in the material life. Just follow the process. Chant Hare Krishna intently. That is the way only that it can make any difference. Intent chanting of Hare Krishna. And approaching after you have done and you have made that enough part of your life, Hare chanting, at some point you'll feel that I cannot do on my own. I need some mercy. Mercy is there. Rain is falling everywhere. We are holding an umbrella so that rain doesn't fall on us. But the spiritual master will open up that channel or mercy channel so that we can receive more his mercy and blessings, and he opens the doors to transcendence. That's how it is. Any other points anyone wants to say or questions?
No, Mataji, I'm good.
Sneha Mataji?
No, Mataji.
Sure. Priyamada Mataji? Just I guess.
All well explained, Mataji. Thank you.
So we'll continue with the 15th chapter next week. Say next chapter, all our memorization verses. If you want to recite any verses, 12th and 15th are the two verses, two chapters that we try to learn. We can do it. Perfect. Upcoming months, Kartik, many people do that. First 12th and 15th chapter recitation. Like that, you can also memorize the verses. Okay. Thank you.